Hello lovely people, I'm Catherine and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I don't normally sound like this. I've had cold, so my voice is a bit croaky. This is the first spread I'm going to work on in my self-care journal for this year 2025. Before I start, I just want to say that I am going to talk a little bit about the breakup of a relationship, my relationship. So if you're a very sensitive person or you think that might be something that you might find uncomfortable or whatever, I just wanted to give you, a little warning at the beginning. I'm not going into lots of, gory details or whatever. I just wanted to say this is not going to be all a jolly and happy video. But hopefully it may help some of you who have got, similar negative things in your life that you might need help processing. So all that being said, I've done a little bit of preparation on my pages. There's a two-part tutorial, again, if you're new and you don't know me, showing how I made this journal in this playlist, which is called A Journal for All Seasons. So if you want to go and check that out, please do. And there I showed how I made this title page. I'm just making sure I've got it all in. I didn't really think when I chose such a big journal about how I was going to fit it all under my camera, but I hope you can see most of it. So my first spread here is a dark page and a light page. And I've done some work already on this light page. This is watercolour paper. The pages in my journal are all different kinds of papers. I'm just going to show you on a little scrap what I did here. So I'll put the journal to one side and do that. I hope my voice holds out to the end of the video. And I haven't got much room on my desk either. Anyway, okay. So I've got a bit of plastic down from some packaging to protect my desk, and I've got a bit of grease-proof parchment paper. I've just got this little card. So what I did was I experimented first with all different kinds of pencils because I wanted a pencil that would react to wet media. And the wet media I'm going to use, is some artist gesso. This is cheap one. If you haven't got artist gesso, you could just use regular white paint of some kind. Or you could even, if you don't want to paint at all, when you see what I'm going to do, you could maybe come up with another thing like sticking a piece of paper over the top, or collaging over, or something like that. But I'm using artist gesso. Sorry, I've got real brain fog. I'm doing my best. So artist gesso, cheap kind, doesn't have to be, fancy. I think that was a couple of pounds. And then I used this charcoal pencil. Again, it's a cheap one. But you could try with a regular pencil or whatever. When you see what I'm going to do, you can maybe come up with the idea that that speaks to you. So this pencil was a sharp point when I started, and you see I've worn it down to blunt. What I did was on that page in my journal that I just showed you, the white, what's now the whitish page, I wrote stream of consciousness stuff about my recently broken relationship. It was hard to do. I sat here first thing this morning and I did it. You sit down with the blank page in front of you and you don't really know where to start. And I would say that if you want to try and do this exercise and you've got things that eat away at you, those thoughts that come when you're lying awake in the dead of the night, and that might not be relationship breakups, it might be things you feel about yourself, things that people have said to you over the years that you still carry with you, that still hurt you, anything like that you feel is having a negative impact on your life and your emotional well-being and your mental health, anything negative, and just write it all out. And I wrote in a way that wasn't really legible anyway. I mean, I made the words, so let's just write the cat sat on the mat. So I just wrote, if I was going to write the cat sat on the mat, I just wrote it like this. So it doesn't really, you can hardly see that it says the cat sat on the mat, but I did make the actions of the words. Does that make sense? So I just carried on writing everything, and once I'd started, it all came pouring out. And when I got to the bottom of the page, I still wasn't done, so I went back up to the top and I kept writing over you know, all the stuff until I couldn't write anymore. So I ended up with a whole page covered in this writing that was barely legible anyway, and I don't want to leave that in my journal visible. I don't want that there for myself, and I certainly don't want that there if that is found after I'm gone, or, you know, that's the thing with journaling, isn't it? We also have to think about where that journal's going to end up if we journal really deep personal stuff, whatever that may be. You always have to think that although it's secret and private while you're there and it's within your care, what will happen to it later? Well, I do, you know, that's maybe not important to everybody, but that's important to me. And also because you know you're going to wipe it out, it frees you up to say anything. I used bad words. If I used on here, I'd get banned. I'm sorry. Sometimes you just have to. You know, you can. It's the very definition of a safe space, because it's just you and the pencil and a piece of paper, and you know you're going to cover it. So that was my thinking behind doing this. So anyway, so I did all that stuff. And then I got my brush. I got quite a big brush because it was a big page. And I got my gesso, which I've just decanted some into this recycled pot. And I just painted over everything. And you see now, because this is charcoal and it reacts easily with the gesso, it's turning a grey sort of colour. So that's why I say if you just experiment, just do some squiggles. This is what I did on here, and I've written something else on for later. I did squiggles with all the different pencils I had, and then I chose the one that I liked the effect of best. So this charcoal pencil disappeared. Pencil disappeared really easily. And then once I'd gone over it and let it dry slightly, it was still a little bit grey, so I just went over it again just to pale it up. I mean, I didn't mind some grey staying, because I guess the metaphor is that all that dark stuff is always there within us, and we can process it, and we can learn to live with it, and we can not let it cast a huge shadow over the rest of our lives, but we can hopefully push it into the background. That was my thought process behind doing it. And of course, doing this once doesn't get rid of everything. If only it did. If only it was that easy, but we all know it isn't. So I thought for the first page in my journal for this, my first year, on my own for 20 years, I'll start by getting out what I can, painting over it, and then see how I move forward from there. So that's the practicalities of it. That's the thought process behind it. I hope that hasn't, you know, upset anybody or caused any, you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. So I'm going to put my brush in the water and remember to wash it later. So what I'm now going to do is go and work over my page now that I've done that. So I did that, like I said, really early this morning, and I've let that dry. And now I'm not going to work with messy stuff anymore, or I might use a bit of glue. I'll get my book back in and I'll make sure you can still see. I really must get some more storage here so I can have more desk space. And there we go, that'll do, pig. So, and also I kind of regret attaching this permanently to my journal. I almost wish I'd left it loose because it's a little bit in the way now. I might take it off again, I'll see. So now I've got my double page. I'm just going to bob up and make sure that I'm all in frame and everything, so you can see. Just using me. I think you can pretty much see the middle of it. And the next thing I want to put some words on here. I don't think I'm going to put images. I mean, obviously you can do what you like. Oh, just a little quick side practical note. When I made this journal, if you watch that video, you'll see that I used, excuse me, brown tape. I'm just getting the brown tape to show you. I used this brown tape because these were A4 pages, so I taped them together. So like that, you see on that side. I could have done that, would have been easier. And all I did was just paint over it. I've got some cheapy I think this was children's when I swiped it. Black acrylic paint, and it covered it a treat. This is also black watercolour paper. Okay, so I want to put a circle on here because I love circles just as a form. It's the circle of the year turning, you know, we're the beginning of January, and it's also the circle of life, you know, the circle. And there's a thing with circles as well that I did a large piece about, a textile piece, that a circle is kind of protective and holds you within it, but it can also be keeping things outside of it, so excluding, whatever the word is, sorry, my brain. So it seemed appropriate for this anyway. So I've just got a plate that's about the right size, and I'm just going to line it up somewhat centrally, and I'm going to get another kind of pencil. The other thing I've got, by the way, is a couple of these are sort of gel pens. There's a white one and a black one, so I can write black on the white and white on the black. I really hope my voice holds out, or I shall be resorting to mime. So I'm just going to draw around my plate. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the black. We'll see. And doing this over the middle like this is kind of designed to unify the two pages, bring the two pages as a double page, although they're obviously starkly black and white. I mean, it's gone a bit wobbly in the middle because of the spine thing, but that's okay. Okie dokie. And like I said, I've got some words to put on here. So these are words. I'll show you this briefly. I go through magazines and book pages and, you know, newspapers, or those free things that come through your door, packaging, anything with words on. And I've got this little tin here, which I hope it's not glaring at you, with some words in. And it's like a little collection of words. And I had these. I lived, if you don't know me, I lived in France for 20 years. I lived in France for 7 years, but was in a relationship for 20 years. And after the relationship ended, I came back to England because I'm English, and this is where I'm from, and this is where all my friends are, and so on. So anyway, I don't know why. Why is that relevant, Catherine? Oh yes, because I had whole boxes of these words, but I didn't bring everything. I brought a small van full of stuff. That was all I brought, and so I've started a new collection of words. So you know, so you can get big words like that, nature, golden, just words that speak to you out of context. And actually, I'll put a link. There's a lovely channel by a woman called Kelly, who I believe is American. She might be Canadian. I think she's American, but she lives in Wales now, called Book and Paper Arts. And she just did, by chance, a lovely video about looking for text, and she does a lot of art collage and so on. So I'll put a link to that video, but do check out her channel if you like, you know, book and paper arts, because she's wonderful. And I recently found out that she watches me as well, which I didn't know, which is always lovely. You know, in this YouTube community that creators watch each other. This I found, look at that, whoops, comfort of cloth. So you can just look for whole sentences and just take out 1 or 2 words, and then you can make up your own story with the words. That's the idea. Comfort of cloth, nature, you know, you can combine, and you get all these different fonts, and it just makes it another layer of interest in your journal. So I've got, from my little word tin, I've got this: without emotion there is no beauty. These are all phrases that speak to me in my theme of this page spread. From darkness to light. And this one, whoops, what lies beneath, what lies beyond the surface, not beneath the surface. So I'm going to stick some of these words on, and I've got a quote from Brené Brown, which is and this is thanks to Michelle in our Facebook group. I have a Facebook group, again, if you're new here. I seem to be getting quite a lot of new people at the moment. That's why I keep saying if you're new here. There's a private Facebook group where we can share our work, or you all can share your work made following my videos. And Michelle used this recently in another project, a stitching project. It is, the dark does not destroy the light, it defines it. It's our fear of the dark that casts our joy into the shadows, and that's by Brené Brown. So I want to write that on here somewhere. And there's also a poem that I've written myself, and I'm in two minds whether to share it with you, because it's, yeah, I'll give that some thought. So I think that's pretty much all I'm doing on this page. I just need to decide where I'm going to put all those text elements. I think the Brené Brown quote written on this piece of paper that's had all kinds of things done to it. Excuse me. I've got it written on here. So I think I'm going to write that half on the dark and half on the light. I'm going to have to adjust the page slightly so I can reach to write. So I'm going to use my black pen. The advantage of gesso, as well as it's lovely to write over the top of, or paint over, or draw on, or whatever. It's what it's for. It primes the surface. Just check this pen works, because they don't always. Yep, there we go. So this quote is kind of in two parts. So I think I'm going to write the first part on the left-hand side and the second part over here in the white pen. Now the sun's come out. Excuse me. Putting the curtain across. I'll have to angle it and stuff so I can write it. I'm just going to write it here in my own handwriting. Sorry if my fluffy head comes in. I haven't brushed my hair yet this morning. The dark does not destroy the light. Sorry, I can't talk and write at the same time. Okay, I've done that. So that's my quote, and I just spaced it by eye. If you want to, if you like to be more precise, then of course you do you. So now I just need to decide where to stick my other words. I am going to ink them, of course I am. I am an inker. Where's my little dobby dobber? There it is. I've got some black archival ink. It's not really necessary that it's archival, but if you don't have ink, you can just have to be a bit careful of that gel pen because it takes a little while to dry. If you don't have ink, you could lay your words onto a scrap of paper and draw around with, just colour around with a crayon or something just to give the same effect. I don't mind that they're torn wonky, and I don't mind that there's still brown ink on my topper. I don't mind being a bit messy. It's a lovely sunny day today, that's nice. We had a lot of rain over the last couple of days. I think there's been flooding again in parts of the UK. yesterday I had to take my son. My son and daughter came over for Christmas, and it was lovely. They were all here for a week. My son, my daughter, and my daughter's boyfriend. And then my daughter had to go back. Well, she went back to spend New Year's with her boyfriend's parents. But my son stayed for another week. And that was really lovely to all spend time together, just the three of us and my daughter's boyfriend, who's lovely. Luckily. So yeah, we had a sort of quiet kind of Christmas, nothing too, but just to be together and talk and, you know. But yeah, my son's flight yesterday was quite late in the day. It was supposed to go about 6:30 in the evening, I think, and it didn't go till about 7:30. And it's not that far, it's just like an hour or so to the airport from here. But it's through lanes and the wind and the rain, and there was fog, and yeah, it wasn't very pleasant driving back. But I did it, and I got here, and then I was all cosy. And I had something to eat, and I had a nice bath, and I had an early night. And then I woke up, of course, at stupid o'clock in the morning, as a good friend of mine calls it. But I managed to go back to sleep again. Anyway, I don't know why I told you all that. Just something to say while I was inking. So now I just need to stick those on. I'm just going to use a glue stick. I got this one that Helen gave me. It's got sentimental value, although it is a little bit dried up now, but I think it's still just about okay. I've got my glue book. I'll just check my gel pens are dry. I think they are. So the glue book is just an old book, you know, an old text block, but you can glue on anything. I'm assuming, well, I don't know, probably some of you are mixed media people. I'm putting this right down here in this corner, I think. I should have decided before I glued it. I don't really want it to be too dominant. It's just thinking about how loud you want these words to speak. You know, if you want them to speak loudly to you, you want them somewhere in the middle. And if you don't, you can just tuck them away in a corner. Can you see? Tucked away in a corner. I will. I do have another camera stand. I think I might have to change, which goes higher. I would quite like to stick this across. Maybe, baby, I should rip it in half. What do you think? I can hear you all shouting at me now. Some of you are saying, no, don't rip it in half, stick it somewhere over there. Another, yeah. The trouble is, if it goes into the gutter, will it rip? When it keeps opening and closing. And if it does, I should just stick something else over it. That's the other thing with these pages. I'm going to probably work consecutively throughout this, because it's a journal, if you know what I mean. An art journal, and you jump about all over the place. But it is possible that I will go back and add things, or change things, or cover things up again. I don't know. It's the process. You see, I've already ripped it now with my fingernail, but anyway, there it is. It's there. It's there for now. It's good enough. Now this, without emotion there is no beauty, is very important to me. So I'm sticking it up there. And I'm not using my glue book, I'm now just doing it with my thumb. Although I've carried on releasing videos over the holiday period, they were all pre-recorded, so I haven't actually made a video for a good 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And I've been doing some stitching, of course, because I can't not. But it does feel good to be sitting at my desk and doing some, even though it's not the easiest thing I've ever done. And I have to decide about this poem. I'll read it to you. I think I'll read it to you and then I'll write it onto my page later on when I stop recording. It's called The Black Hole. It goes, the realization that you hitched your wagon to a black hole masquerading as a star. But no, even a black hole was once a star, until it imploded under the weight of its own magnificence. But no, for nothing may escape its irresistible thrall, and you did. So I think I might write that down here somewhere. I'll have a look and see if there's anything else I want to do. It's quite stark, but maybe that is. I need to sit with it for a while. If I do decide to do more to it, next Monday when we come back and do this page, however we're going to do that, I don't know yet. However I'm going to do that, I can show you, you know, if I've added to this. So this is basically how this is going to be throughout the year. Hopefully there'll be more joy and light as going forward. But yeah, so every week I'm going to sit and do a spread that might just be about something I'm thinking about, or it might be about something that's happened in that week, or it might be about an idea or a thought process, or, you know, something I want to express. I will do writing, I will do sticking and collage, I might do some, I want to get more into drawing and painting and sketching, although I'm not very good at it, but that's something I want to do more of. So if you're interested in that, then please do subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and follow along with me and join us, because there's really, truly, when I say hello lovely people at the beginning of my videos, it's so true. There's so many lovely people here. So thank you, all of you. I hope that was, yeah, it was probably the hardest video I've ever made, to be honest. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.